Hey guys, Gino here. Once again, talking about the things that I like to talk about. Today is my fire and crucible method, which I am hoping by the end of this makes a modicum of sense. It might not, honestly, but it's how I like to visualize my approach at business, investment, career, all the good things. So here we go. You start off unformed, right? You've got nothing, and you start gathering information on something. Let's say it's an investment and getting into real estate. Great. You start gathering information, and that's almost like pouring the molten metal into the mold to make a sword, right? So you start gathering material and information, trying to piece together what this is, how you're going to approach it, and slowly it gains shape. The tool gains shape. Maybe it's a sword, maybe it's a shield, maybe it's a helmet, maybe it's a piece of leg armor, maybe you're making horse armor or a saddle or whatever you're making. Great. Starts to gain shape. Now, before you go and test the thing you made, the ideas you have, right, going into real estate, before you buy a house and try to flip it, before you do anything, you have to make sure that the material you're about to test is malleable enough. Now, what do I mean by that? If you take a piece of metal that you're making, like a sword, right, and you cool it off completely after you've molded it, and you start banging it with a hammer, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be pretty brittle, and it's going to snap. And by it snapping, I mean you snapping. I know this from experience, at least with my own life. I don't like snapping. So you have to approach the situation with enough heat. You have to be hot enough. If the material's hot enough, when you start hitting it with a hammer, instead of breaking it and shattering it, you mold it, you shape it, right? You're hammering away and you're making it harder, more durable, more useful, sharper, more in the shape that you desire, right? You're fine-tuning it. So in order to be hotter, you have to be more animated. You have to be more energetic. You have to have more motivation. You got to approach it with energy. Okay, I've learned all about real estate, this specific group of stuff I want to do. I'm going to go in with a lot of energy, a lot of heat, a lot of gusto. Great. Well, the next step is you're going to get hit, right? Hence the hammer coming down on you and getting hit. But this is good, because as long as you have enough heat inside of you, you're not going to shatter from the hits. They're just going to mold you into a sharper, better tool, right? You go out into real estate and you make a couple missteps, right? And it costs you time and some money. But with the right attitude and attention, you know that those missteps are part of making you a better real estate investor, and they're sharpening you. They're making you better. They didn't break you. You knew these were coming. In fact, you were ready for them. You were ready for the back steps. You were ready for the setbacks. You're ready for the punches that life's going to throw at you, right? Fantastic. You're getting better. And soon, maybe, you find yourself somewhere at level 1 and you say, well, I've done my first property. I learned a bit. Maybe I didn't make any money. Maybe I'm at break even, but I've cemented a new level. I've gone up one stair step in my ability. That's when you quench the frickin' sword, right? After you've beat it into the right shape, after you've taken your hits and you quench it and you solidify your progress. Doing that hardens the material, right? It treats the metal, let's say. It makes it one step above. You're getting closer to the end product. You're cementing the progress you've made. And the next step is you get hot again. Okay, now that I've done my first property, I need to go learn more. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? What is everyone else doing? What do the gurus say? What do the courses say? Although I don't like gurus and courses. But what do the people in my life that have done this before say? What do they think about what I'm doing, right? Okay, I'm going to do a little bit bigger of a project. I'm going to get excited again. I'm going to get animated again because I know those blows are coming. I know the setbacks are coming. I know the world's going to beat the shit out of me in like 2 months, right? So I got to get excited. I got to be able to have enough energy to absorb those hits. And then when you get hot enough, you step into the freaking forge again. You get the next property or whatever deal you're working on, or challenge or test that you're doing, and you take your hits again, and you see them coming. Here comes the hammer. Oh, boom. Tenant broke a hole in the wall. Boom. Somebody stole something. Boom. The bank pulled some weird clause out on you. Oh, I didn't know what they were going to be, but I knew they were coming, right? Learn, 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 learn. You become a sharper, better tool, more in line with what you want. And then at the end of the second property, You put the freaking hot sword into the quencher, whoosh, sizzles and the whole 9 yards, and you're at level 2. The sword you have at level 2 is infinitely better than the nothingness you had at level 0. Before you even had metal in the shape of a sword, you had nothing, right? You were doing nothing. You had the concept of a sword. You had maybe the idea of a sword. And then after the metal, you have a sword that can't cut anything, but at least it kind of looks like a stick. And then after level 1, maybe you can cut paper, but not much else. And you just get better and better and better and better. I've used this analogy, metaphor, for a lot of my life. And maybe it's because I'm a nerd. It's definitely because I'm a nerd. It really speaks to me and it makes sense to me, this analogy, where humans are like that. If you approach something without all that fire and energy, the first good hammer strike that comes around is going to snap you. The sword's going to break in two. And you don't want that. You do want it to mold you. You do not want it to break you. And if you never take the time to cement what you've learned at each stage and realize where you need to go next, you're just going to be stuck in an endless cycle of beatings. That's not good either. You don't want the world to just continually beat you up because you're never learning from what you're doing, right? If you've made it this far, hopefully this has been interesting, if not useful, to you guys. It's been useful to me. I like talking about this kind of stuff. I like talking about personal development and finance and business and career and investments and stuff that's on my mind. That's what I predominantly like doing here. So if that kind of stuff's interesting to you, please subscribe. Shoot me a comment if you got a question, or if you think I'm ridiculous, that's fine too. I get that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Gino out.